down the field. Happy tossing dimes, cup $1 million deal. Fantasy football, better know it's real. Tune into the podcast, tell us how you feel. We be going live, best believe we talk.
Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Football from Up North podcast. I'm your host, Clayton, and joining me as usual is my co-host, Habby. What's up, my man?
How's it going, buddy?
Hey, been a long time. We haven't chatted in, a couple weeks.
I know.
Sorry, my...
What's going on in life? The wife's about to go in for her... Sorry, my earphone things came out.
Oh, it's okay. Any day here. Well, Wednesdays are appointments, so yeah, we'll have a little squirt in our household again.
Wow,
coming up very shortly here, so I'm excited. We're kind of set up here, so it's kind of see what happens, but that's about it. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. She's happy for it to be done. She's like fucking struggling so hard right now. So, but
when they get to the end like this, I can only imagine how bad, how uncomfortable the body must feel.
I am so happy I'm a man. There's no way I could do that. So
no. You'll get 9 vasectomies though.
Yeah, well,
and a couple reversals.
Yeah, no more of. Well, I'll get the vasectomy, not the reversal ever again. Fuck that.
Yeah. No.
And also, guys, if you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, you can find me at FF from Up North and Habby at 29Habby. So, proud little partnership we got going on right now. This episode is presented by Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a daily fantasy gaming website for the casual sports fan that is simple, fun, and easy to play. Monkey Knife Fight's daily fantasy props games are similar to salary cap-based DFS games, but without the algorithms, the lineups, most importantly, those nasty sharks that play against you all the time and win.
Yeah.
So, the biggest thing is there's several contests to choose from, and none of them really require hours of research to do. So it's kind of like, who are you comfortable with? It's prop betting pretty much is what it is. If you like a player to get more or less the points or whatever it is, goals, then go ahead and do that. Obviously, without the football season here right now, but they do offer every other sport on here, so it's great to do. Very easy to get started. All you need to do is sign up, use promo code UPNORTH, and Monkey Knife Fight will give you a 100% instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit. So head over and download the app today and get started. It's a lot of fun. We both played, hey, H?
Yeah, I've enjoyed my first couple weeks making some bets. And like you said, a lot of prop bets. And you're not playing against some heavy hitters out there and just losing money to them. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been dabbling a little bit into everything. College basketball, golf, hockey, NBA. Well, obviously not this weekend, but it's pretty fun though. I've been up. So that's what the good thing is. So
I've mainly stuck with the hockey, but it's been fun.
All right, bud. Well, you know what? Let's just talk some football. We're going to talk some AFC East and West early depth charts right before free agency hits on the 17th. So basically what we're going to be doing is going through the depth charts, positions, every position on the depth chart. There's going to be some that's going to be obviously a given, a quarterback situation or whatever, but we have kind of broken it down into the depth charts where we feel as though there's guys that could be an upgrade, or there's guys that if they're looking for a number 2 wide receiver, there are some free agents out there that could kind of match up well for them in that position. Yeah. So we'll just kick it off with the AFC West. Do you want to start us off with the Chiefs, Habby?
AFC West. Oh, no, you start. I was in the East, so let me just backpedal here.
Are we doing the West? I'll kick us off. That's cool.
Yeah, let's do the. We're going West. Okay, let's go West.
Okay, we're going West. All right, let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not too much to say as far as the quarterback situations. We know that Pat Mahomes is going to be there for a very long time, and he is going to dominate again next year. So why don't you start off with the running back situation?
All right. Well, going into this year, they're obviously hoping again that Clyde Edwards-Helaire takes the reins, but I think we're going to see Darrell Williams get a bigger role going into this next season. We've seen him in the playoffs. He can run with these guys, and I think that Bell's done there pretty much. And I think we're going to see a 1-2 punch with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams next year.
Well, Helaire had a pretty decent season, almost had 1,000 yards rushing last year. I mean, he did seem like the stats weren't always there every game, but when he did perform well, 5 touchdowns. You're talking about Darrell Williams. What about Damian Williams? He sat out in 2020. What's going to happen in that situation?
I mean, do you think that they could possibly make some sort of deal I think they'll move on from him because his contracts, he's making obviously more money, and they're going to have to pay Clyde eventually. So what do you think he's going to do there?
I think he does. I'm not sure. I kind of want to see what happens as far as they could release him. He could be a cut casualty. Yeah. Right. I mean, he did sit. They do have, they, like you said, Darrell Williams. They got Darwin Thompson back there as well. So
yeah,
you kind of never know, and that's why I love this early depth chart talk, because we're forgetting about these guys. Like we'll get into it later, but we got to remember these guys that sat out in 2020. They're not going to be dinged for anything. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like a punishment that they sat out 2020. So there's guys that I completely forgot about that are even, not necessarily even on the roster, but free agency wise, there's a couple other big names out there that I completely forgot about. So, but yeah, I can agree with you. I think Darrell Williams will probably be the running back 2 on this team.
Yeah. And like, it sucks because they won't get, you say that they won't get dinged for going with the COVID deal, but I think like almost like an injury, if somebody steps up and they show, just like Darrell Williams did, that they can handle your workload, then and he makes less money, why not go with him over? I mean, it's a slippery slope for Damian Williams when he decides to opt out, right?
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Definitely, yeah. I agree with you. Okay, let's go to the receiving side of the ball. As far as we know, we got, Tyreek the Freak out there as their wide receiver 1. And then we got Mecole Hardman. So you look at the stats for Tyreek Hill, over 1,600 yards last year, 15 touchdowns, beast, right? So yeah. Nothing said and done about that. That's their wide receiver 1. And then we go down to Mecole Hardman had over 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then from there, it's kind of it's touch and go. As far as I know, as far as I go right now, they do not have a wide receiver 3 on this team right now. I believe Demarcus Robinson is most likely going to walk. Sammy Watkins is a free agent. Yeah. So, yeah, do they sign one of those guys, or do they go out and grab maybe say get Nelson Aguilar or something like that, or you know what I mean, or a Brashad Perryman or something,
Yeah, I agree. Like I do think that both those guys are probably going to walk, and they're going to bring in somebody new. And like you said, maybe somebody established in the league a little bit, good hands, get a little bit of separation, and but I mean, they don't really need much. Mecole Hardman's going to get bumped up to a full-time roster spot and starter, and whoever comes in is, I mean, it could be even a rookie,
Yeah, no, yeah, through the draft or through free agency, anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean, if those 2 guys do leave, that opens up over 100+ targets, more targets. Like, I mean, KC chucks the ball a ton,
yeah.
So pretty much anybody that does fall into that position, you're kind of. He's showing that he can accommodate 3 wide receivers in in this offense. So
they may try and find a deeper sleeper in the draft this year to fill that spot for them.
It's pretty deep, so that wouldn't shock me at all neither. All right, go to tight end position. Travis Kelce. That's all you really need to know about that.
That was the best ever. How about that guy?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what else there's to say about that. Outside of him, they got Nick Keiser, Ricky Seals-Jones, those guys, but pretty much nobody. Let's be honest. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not going to be. They're pretty much useless.
Yeah.
On this offense with Travis Kelce running the away.
Who's a guy? Actually, come to think of it, that could step in there and who's salivating at the mouth for a Super Bowl chance or some sort of playoff run because he's been on the stupid, shitty Bengals for so long, is AJ Green.
That would be a nice little fit for him to go there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd like to see him go there and make a run with KC. Because like I said, he's a very good player, talented player, and he's sitting in almost a Calvin Johnson, sort of rut.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's hop over to the Las Vegas Raiders. This is going to be one of those things where there was talk earlier on that Derek Carr is not the guy there. They were considering trying to trade for somebody. But then just last week, I believe it came out that they were both behind Derek Carr and said he is their quarterback moving forward. So won't touch on that too much. As far as he goes, I think he was perfectly fine in that situation. He didn't have a bad year last year. I'm just going to grab his stats here real quick. Sorry. Over 4,000 yards passing, 27 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Those are pretty decent stats, man. You could go to any team. You're looking for that starting yardage. Those are stats that you want your starter to put up every week or every year, right? So I don't see why they would move on from him, but like I said, you never know. It's the Raiders. They've done some funky stuff here the last few years.
Yeah, they've cut him a lot of slack. I mean, he hasn't had very many weapons they've obviously tried to bring in A. Brown for him, but that blew up in their face. But he hasn't had very many weapons really in the receiving corps to help him out. They drafted Ruggs, and I do believe that is one of the positions they're going to try and stuck up on is the wide receiver position on that offense.
Yeah, and let's go kick over to the running backs real quick. As far as I know, Josh Jacobs is their only guy right now. Devontae Booker is going to be, he's a free agent, so kind of got to see what happens from that point. And outside of that, all you have is Jalen Richard. And that's the only two guys that they have on their roster as of right now signed. So they're definitely going to most likely add somebody through free agency or into the draft. Yeah. Jacobs was good last year. Another, almost 1,100 yards, 12 touchdown games. So, only 2 fumbles. So hopefully this little offseason stuff that he had happened about, crashing into pulls at airports because they're hammered or whatever it was. Doesn't cost them too much. So, which I don't think, by the sounds of it, it's not supposed to at all, actually. So, and then as far as Zach, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say they got Incognito, and if Richards comes off the books, that saves them $20.5 million, and that money is probably going to be mostly spent on their defense. But I could see them bringing in almost maybe even like a Damian Williams type of guy, a good 1-2 punch there with Jacobs, because I think Jacobs, they could dial back his carries a little bit because he's getting beat up a lot.
Oh, yeah. No,
and we're seeing it in the later parts of the season, both the starting seasons. In the later parts, he's been beat up, and they could really use him in the second half, because Oakland, they come out of the gates both years, and then both years they just suck in the second half.
Who's Oakland?
Oh, sorry. Vegas.
And I agree. And on the receiving side, got some nice weapons for him on the receiving side of the ball. We're looking at, like you said, Ruggs, Bryan Edwards, and Hunter Renfrow right now are their guys as on the receiving side. You kind of want to see a little bit more out of Ruggs. Yeah. He didn't have the little breakout year that people were hoping for. Only not even 500 yards. And only 2 touchdowns. And then you go, I think the leading receiver was Hunter Renfrow with over 650 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. They need to use him more. And then, my apologies, Nelson Aguilar was the leading receiver.
Yeah.
Which he's going to be a free agent, so you don't know what's going to happen there. There is talk that they want to offer him to bring him back.
Yeah.
Obviously, for a 900-yard receiver, 8 touchdown guy, he's going to go chase money somewhere, in my opinion. They better give him a nice chunk of cash in order for him to stay. Do you like that?
I don't like. Only thing I don't like about that receiving core is the inexperience. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to see somebody come in, a veteran like Aguilar was good. He had a good season, and he probably taught those kids a lot. But I'd like to see him to bring in another veteran receiver to help those kids continue to, because it is a good young receiving core, but they're young, right? So I'd like to see him bring in a good someone. Well, someone's obviously going to have to take all those Aguilar catches. Hopefully, Ruggs gets a few more, but
yeah. I think they'll go out and spend some money on a receiver, like on try to get one of these elite guys that are out there. You know what I mean? To step in as their as Carr's first target, first choice, right? I don't think Ruggs is there yet in order to take that leap and pretty much be the guy that's going to get double teamed all the time. Yeah, sure, he's got the speed, but can he? You know what? I want to see more of it, and like you said, inexperience on it. I mean, two out of the three guys here are rookies, right? Rookies going into this year, second year, right? So, but yeah,
and Renfro should be his hands guy. I mean, that kid can get open, and he's got great hands. So, like you said, I'd like to see them use him more in the passing game.
Yeah, he had almost a 75% catch rate last year. So that's what you want, definitely in a go-to guy. So, all right, as a tight end, we know it's Darren Waller and pretty much Darren Waller alone. Yeah, would you agree with that?
Definitely.
He's a beast. He's a top three tight end in the league, and he's going to continue to do so. When we talk about stats, there over 140. He had 140 targets, caught 107 balls for almost 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. And those are dynamite, right? And we've always talked fantasy. We've always said, you know what, if you don't get one of those top 3 tight ends, you're kind of hooped from that perspective, right? So I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see more of the. I want to see some more of Waller moving forward. I'm invested a lot in him in a few other dynasty leagues. So but outside of that, that's pretty much. Do you have anything else to touch on out of those guys?
No, Waller.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Los Angeles Chargers. Let's go to it's same old. We're not going to touch too much on any of these quarterbacks really because they're already set in stone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's pointless. He's a beast. He's going to throw the ball. Good stats. Simple as that. Great for fantasy. So let's just go over to the one position that's going to be really interesting to do is the running backs. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a little bit iffy right now. We're looking at, as of now, from what I have. Sorry, my thing messed up here. We got Eckler, and then we got Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
Those are the main guys. Kalen Ballage most likely won't be back. Tremaine Pope was already, I believe, released, I think. But as far as that goes, Eckler over 530 yards rushing, only 1 touchdown. Only played 10 games, though. So you can't really, his stats would have been way better had he played a full year. So that's what's concerning me, too. Like, I don't think they have enough depth in order to bring. I think they need to bring somebody in because of situations like that. Like, we watched this team when Eckler did go down. The running backs didn't really do too much after he left. I mean, I don't know where they ranked in rushing, but is probably closer to the bottom half of the league. So I think you're going to have to bring a guy in again that is I think Eckler plays better as the 1B guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He hasn't had a season over 500 or 600 yards on the ground. So you can't rely on that because the biggest reason is like he's got injury problems. I think that if their biggest need in the offense that could help this offensive line is these running backs is their offensive line. Yeah. They got Feeney and Lamp free agents, and Pouncey retired. Their left tackle position is not very good with Pipkins, and that's their biggest thing that they need to do with this offense in the offseason is get that offensive line fixed because. I mean, we've seen it with last year with one of the big rookies going down, and it sucked to see the same thing happen to them because their offensive line just couldn't carry the load. But like you said, I'd like to see them bring in more depth, like a pounder in between the tackles guy to help out with the ground and pound game. But I don't think Eckler is the number one answer there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And then on the receiving side of the ball, I think this is just as good as, I don't know, Keenan Allen's still a beast. I like him as a top 15 guy going into the year. He finished with almost 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 14 games, missed a couple games due to injury, but outside of that, he's their wide receiver 1. And then you go to the wide receiver 2, it's going to be most likely Mike Williams again, right? And the problem with that is, I don't know, man, he did play 15 games, over 750 yards and 5 touchdowns. So those are good enough for wide receiver 2 numbers. But what I'm looking for is who is there going to be their third guy? They're going to need a third guy. In this offense, are they just going to stick with a Tyron Johnson or one of those guys that kind of stepped up toward the end of the year last year?
They could. I mean, they obviously need a slot guy, and they could look into free agency. But if they sign Hunter Henry, I think that they will stay status quo with what they got right now.
What happens if they don't, though? How many more targets can Keenan Allen get?
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they don't sign Henry, they got to bring in a good slot receiver. Yeah, somebody who can eat up those catches in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and they did draft a couple guys last year. What was his KJ Hill, and it was Tyron Johnson. I mean, they both stepped up. They were both, especially in fantasy, they were good. They had their games in fantasy where could have won you a week. They went off a few times each game. So I do like that. And as far as the tight end position goes, like you said, Hunter Henry is going to be a free agent. Right now, all we have is Donald Parham. He is their number 1 guy right now on the roster. Yeah. So they're definitely they have to do something. Like you said, most likely they're going to sign Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's going to get paid though. Yeah. So I mean, they better open their wallet and pay the kid, or they're going to lose him definitely to a tight end needy team, which is pretty much 3/4 of the league.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
he's in a pretty juicy situation there.
Oh, I would love to be in a situation like that, man. Bring it. Just you got to wake up every day and be like, it's getting one day closer to free agency. What is my number going to be? You know what I mean? What am I going to stop at and be okay doing, right? So, but someone's going to pay him. Most likely it'll be the Chargers, I would think. So, all right. And let's go to the shitty Denver Broncos. Yuck. This is a disaster. We'll talk about the quarterback position right now. So, Drew Lock. That's all you're hearing about is Drew Lock. Yeah. And then they're obviously not set on him. They've even said it straight out. And then there was talk about maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick going over there in free agency. Well, look at that. Now he's going to retire, most likely. Report came out today that he's leaning toward the end to retirement. But you know what? If you haven't made that decision yet and I just throw a shit ton of money at you, I'm not retiring. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's proven that he can still play in this league. So I don't really think I don't know. I don't think it'd be a wise decision. If you're still going to collect a nice paycheck. Exactly. To either be a backup or to go to a team like Denver where you actually legit have a chance that you will start.
Yeah, you get put right in a great position and it's surrounded by lots of talent.
Oh, tons of talent on the receiving side of the ball. Well, go over to the running back situation. So yeah, I think they'll try to make a run at one of these quarterbacks in free agency at some point. If not, I think they stick it out with Locke for another year and guess maybe
you think they could possibly go after like a quarterback in the draft, like a Zach Wilson or something?
Well, they're going to have to pay to get up there, right? I mean, what pick do they have? They have. Oh, I had it all written down. Whatever. You know what? There's going to be so many. I think there's going to be so many trades in this draft. I think it's going to be awesome to watch. I'd really like to see the Jets keep Darnold, right? Keep Darnold. Sign one of those high-end freaking receivers at number 2, and just watch how many teams just start just handing the draft away for that, to move up and to get one of those quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So, But absolutely. And if they stick with Drew Lock, then you know what? Let's go for a quarterback next year. Yeah. There's still a handful of guys maybe next year that are going to be maybe not as deep as this draft, but there's some talent coming into the league the following year that I think and Denver's not going to be able to, if they're sticking with Lock, they're going to get a high draft pick. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can only rap your lyrics for so long before you have no job, my friend. On the running back side of the ball, we got Philip Lindsay. He's going to be he's a restricted free agent, I believe, is he not? I think that's what he.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's a full free agent.
Is he full free agent? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is actually. My bad. Yeah. I was thinking about somebody else, but yeah, he is. One of two things are going to happen here. They could tender him, right, and then somebody could come back and offer him an offer sheet, and then Denver's going to have to pay him, and then it's basically Melvin Gordon and him. Melvin Gordon's the only one really on the roster right now. Almost 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns on the year. But how do you? I don't know, man. The thing with Philip Lindsay is I kind of want him to move on because they clearly don't respect his game. He comes into the league as an undrafted free agent, and then puts up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons on the ground, and then they go and sign Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I'm him, I'm hoping they don't tender me. Or even if they do, I'm hoping that they some team just opens their wallet and says, come play for us. We're more than happy to. And, you put him on a team, he can be that 1B. He can be that Austin Eckler type back.
Yeah.
Because he's got hands, man. The kid can catch. So catch out of the backfield. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
I agree. But the thing is that it depends on his free agency demands. Right now, if they bring in a decent quarterback, they have a really good receiving core, one of the best up and coming tight ends, and if Lindsey's smart, he should know if you want to make a run in the playoffs in this NFL, you're gonna need 2 good solid running backs, and with this group, and like I said, that one missing piece is the quarterback. And I'd like to see, this is one of the teams I'd like to see Watson or get traded to, or Fitzpatrick sign with, because that could be one of the one of those 2 guys could push this team over the top.
Yeah, agreed.
And if Lindsey stays there, obviously.
Yeah, and with this receiving core that they have, young guys, you got Cortland Sutton coming back off injury, Jerry Jeudy, you got KJ Hamler. All these guys are up and coming studs, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
They all had their where was sorry. Let's start with Tim Patrick. He's going to be most likely moving on because he's a free agent. He had stats from him. I never even heard about this guy. And then all of a sudden, every week he's putting up a touchdown, over 740 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then we saw Cortland Sutton leave after the first game. So can't really put too much on that. We know what his talent is, though. He has shown what his talent is. And then you got the rookies in Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler came in. Jerry Jeudy almost put up 1,000 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then Hamler over almost 403. So, young, like you said, young receiving core. Bringing Sutton back is huge for them. Get that quarterback situation figured out, and like you said, you got. They may not push for a Super Bowl or anything like that, but they're going to compete.
Oh yeah,
they can't compete in this division with Drew Lock running the show, in my opinion.
No.
So, do you want to touch on anything else with the receivers?
Nope. They're good. They're ready to take that next step. Get Watson in the Denver uniform.
Yeah. Tell me about the tight end position.
Like I said, one of the best up and coming tight ends in the league, Noah Fant. He's I think he's going to take another step up, and I think they're pretty set in stone with Fant.
Yeah, they got Noah Fant, and then they have rookie, the second year, Albert, whatever his name is, Ukawabunam or whatever the hell his name is. He had over 120 yards and 1 touchdown. So I agree with you. Noah Fant is the guy there, and that's not going to change at all. So let's hop over to the AFC East and talk about one of my favorite teams right now is the Buffalo Bills.
The Bills.
Yeah.
Could be your new favorite team.
I might cheer for them, buddy. I'm not even lying to you.
If Watson gets traded out of Houston, your christening has to be through a table.
Yeah. I still have to jump through the table.
You do it.
I still owe you one. We'll get it done. Josh Allen, unbelievable.
Yeah.
What he can do as a real life quarterback and as a fantasy quarterback. The numbers he put up over almost 5,400 yards through the air last year.
Yeah.
42 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's ridiculous. That's, almost a 70% completion rate. He, no question, he is their guy and is going to be for many, many, many years to come. Now we could talk about on the receiving side, this receiving core alone too. We got Stephon Diggs there. Beasley's there. They got what's his name?
Gabriel Davis.
Gabriel Davis, is that what it is? Gabriel Davis.
Yeah.
That's basically their three guys in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
And then you got John Brown, but I think Smokey Brown, I believe he's most likely he's going to be a free agent. I think he's probably going to leave the team. But as far as that goes, Stephon Diggs almost 2,000 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. You got rookie Gabriel Davis came in he was almost 700. So this kid's got talent. And I think when it comes to fantasy, though, I think a lot of people forget about this kid, right? Because all they look about it as those stats is all they can think about is, Beasley, and they can think about is Diggs, right?
Yeah.
I think Davis was a sneaky play, and he's going to be a sneaky draft pick this year in fantasy, especially if you're in a dynasty league or something like that. You can scoop him late in the draft. Yeah. And you're going to get decent.
With how much Buffalo's throwing the ball and with John Brown on his way out the door, I think this next season, Davis is going to take even a bigger step forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's targets going to be had in that offense. So
yeah.
Okay. I kind of skipped over the running backs situation. I hate it.
What they need. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we got Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Moss put up over 500 last year. Singletary 750. But the fact is, Moss only played 14 games, and Singletary played 19. Obviously, that's counting your playoff games, right? So
yeah.
As far as that goes, I would like to see them sign somebody more elite, but they're not going to. I mean, you got the draft capital in Moss already, and Singletary both. So it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation, in my opinion. I do think Zach Moss is going to be the one that leads this way. I think I'll just put it out there with all these rookies that had no offseason last year, basically had no training camp, no anything. Or sorry, not offseason, but no training camp. This year, I think it's going to change. They're going to be able to get in there early. They're going to be able to, get their feet going early in training camp and preseason and stuff like that, right? So I think you're going to see a lot of these guys take that next step just because of that. So that's where I think Zach Moss comes in, and I think that's where he kind of is that guy that gets the majority of the carries in this offense or in this in the game.
I agree. Singletary and Moss they're a solid enough 1-2 punch. I think most of the off-season work needs to be done on the offensive line. Their run blocking needs to be fixed. We could at the end of last year, you saw Buffalo was like a completely one-dimensional team. They didn't even try to run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so they don't have much cap space. That's the biggest thing. So you got to stick with these guys and just spend on the offensive line. They're not going to be able to bring up their own guys. It's going to be some creative GM work is going to have to happen there for them to get their offensive line figured out. But I think they just stick with Singletary and Moss. I agree.
I agree with you. And then on the tight end side, they need a tight end. They had no production out of their tight end last year. Now, a sneaky guy that would be nice to come to this team is a Jonnu Smith type of, pay to get Jonnu Smith on this team. He's a blocking tight end. We know he can block. That's what you kind of need out of your tight end. And, he can catch the ball. Simple as that. He's been dynamite. Like in Tennessee last year, he would have put up record numbers last year had he had Luan not gone out and he wasn't asked to block more. Right. That was his biggest thing. So go and get a guy like Jonnu Smith, he's only 26, so he's got a bunch of years left in him, and put him together with this young offense. I think that a guy like him can take this team to that next level.
Yeah, definitely the offense. I mean, we saw the Beasley was he was the biggest benefactor of them not having a good tight end last year, but they could use some more help in that department for sure.
Yeah, let's slide over to another nice young team to talk about is the Miami Dolphins. There's a lot of question marks on this team. Quarterback is not one of them, I don't think, in my opinion. We got Tua there, and with no Fitzpatrick, I think it's going to be I think the pressure is going to be off Tua a little bit, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of more confidence for him going into the year rather than knowing he has to look back over you know what I mean, over Fitzmagic because Fitzmagic's right behind him, right? So, I mean, Tua's numbers not the best, as a rookie, over 1,805 and 11 touchdowns, but is what it is. Give him some time still. We know he's a good quarterback. Watched him in college. He can do what he needs to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and even fantasy-wise, I think he's a perfect quarterback for fantasy as well. So, rushing side of the ball. Now, this is a spot that
one thing I could see them bringing in like a guy like Brissett or like one of those, like a good veteran quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. Just because last year we did see Tua in the second half of the season sort of slip up, and they threw in Fitzpatrick a few times later in the games. So I don't think they have like complete confidence that Tua can takes them to that next level and finish games. So I could see them bringing in like one of those guys they could throw in there like they did with Fitzpatrick and not worry about it.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody. I think whoever they bring in there, though, I don't think is going to play much, to be honest with you. Unless Tua gets hurt, because the problem with that is you're going to a guy that you drafted this kid early, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Drafted him high enough, and then like, what kind of confidence do you have as a rookie? We talk about the rookie having no preseason or training camp coming into, right? And then you finally get your shot at going into a game. You know what? Nerves are there. You're still, you know what I mean? You're trying to grasp the NFL level, but then you got your coaching staff that says, oh, he messed up. Let's get Fitzpatrick in there right now. Oh, now we're going to go back to Tua again. You know what I mean? There's just no consistency. That's why I kind of think they'll be a little bit more consistent with him to see what they really have in him this year. So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, the reason they did that is because Miami was in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So they needed wins, right? They wanted wins. But like I said, we saw that Tua, if he can't do it, I mean, you could pretty much tell like halfway through the season or something if this guy's going to be your quarterback of the future.
Right. Running back side of the ball, I don't know what they're going to do here. There's a lot of talk about A. Jones coming here. Great landing spot in my opinion. Yeah. Getting a Aaron Jones in this offense, then that's a guy that's where I think you see a guy like Tua succeed big time. When you got a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield and be as good as Aaron Jones is, you know what I mean? But as far as last year went, we saw Myles Gaskin performed really well up until he got hurt. He had almost 600 yards in 10 games, 3 touchdowns. And then Salvon Ahmed, we saw a little bit of him, over 300 and 3 touchdowns. And outside of that, that's pretty much all you have. I don't really... They're going to go get somebody. Let's be realistic, right? I don't think they're set on Gaskin. I don't think Gaskin is the guy that can lead the way. And there's enough guys out there where even if you keep a guy like Gaskin and Ahmed going to be on there as your, like, say, your third back, go and get a guy that you're not going to have to pay a whole shit ton for. Go get a Marlon Mack. You know what I mean? Yeah. Go get somebody that can still do it, but it's not costing you, your whole team for, right? Obviously, A. Jones is the guy you're going to go for, but you know what I'm saying.
They might save a little money on a guy like Chris Carson too. Like, I think they're going to go after one of those big time free agent running backs. But like you said, that's what they need. That they're not going to go with Gaskin and Ahmed. I mean, they showed flashes last season, but they need a 1,000 yard plus rusher.
Yeah. I agree. Receiving side of the ball, there's another question marks there. They're not stacked there. You got a Devontae Parker and you got Preston Williams, and pretty much that's about it.
I think we're going to see a huge turnover in this receiving core. I think they're going to bring in, either Fuller, Godwin, or Golladay, one of those big names. And I think they're going to use their one of their third overall pick on a wide receiver as well.
Yeah. So I that's exactly what I think. I think you're going to go get a guy like Jamar Chase or you know what though? I honestly think they trade down anyways. I think they trade down a couple of spots because somebody's going to want a quarterback, right? Yeah. And I still think they're going to look at it and go, okay, the next three guys won't be going quarterback. And even if they do, if you go get a guy like Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, or Devonta Smith, one of those three guys, those guys are game changers, right? So go and draft a guy like that.
They're ready to go.
Draft a guy like that. Go and get an elite guy, like you said. I don't think it'll be a Godwin. I think Godwin's staying, but like a Golladay or somebody like that, definitely put them in there, slide them in there. That wide receiver one, get a rookie there, and now you see this team completely changed.
Yeah,
in my opinion, right? So, tight end spot, Mike Gesicki, he's good. You know what? He's proven almost 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. He kind of showing a little bit of a rapport with Tua. That can only get better as your tight end quarterback duo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's really not much to talk about. And Durham Smith, he was the rookie. We saw a little bit of him put up a couple touchdowns, but not really much as far as fantasy goes. That's kind of not really a guy that you're going to go and go all out for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I think he's going to be a top 10 tight end next year.
Yeah. Definitely. How about what are the Patriots going to do? They kind of got question marks everywhere on this team. We should have started with them because we'll be talking about them probably for the next 20 minutes. But what are they doing the quarterback spot? They're going to keep Newton? Hey, why wouldn't they?
I know they'll probably give him a pretty good deal. I mean, I thought there were some talks about them going after Fitzmagic. But if he retires, and I do think that their best choice would be Newton. He knows he's dealt with Belichick for a year now. He's the one thing is that New England did come out and say that they were moving on from Newton.
You never know. In my opinion, I guess. With these quarterbacks, depends what's going to happen in free agency and what's going to happen with a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson, all these guys like that, right? I don't think they're going to go after a guy like that, but I can see them maybe trading up in the draft, going for a guy I've seen like Trey Lance, I've seen guys like
Matt Wilson. I've seen Matt Wilson associated with them now.
Yeah. So, Mac who? What did you say?
Wilson.
What about Zach Wilson? Is that who you're?
Oh, sorry,
Mac Wilson. Jesus, guy, Jesus,
Zach Wilson.
But it's Mac. No, it's Mac is the one that's been talked to go there. Belichick likes him. Zach Wilson. There's no way he's going to fall that far down.
That's what I said.
You said Mac. Is it? It's not Mac Wilson.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay, you go. You keep calling it that. You go ahead.
All right, I'm Googling it right now.
Google it right now.
I swear what I read said Mac Wilson.
All right.
They wanted to go after Mac Wilson.
There's no Mac Wilson in this draft, my friend.
Hold on.
But anyways, I do think they kind of stick with either to go for a guy like that in the draft or they stick to a guy like Cam Newton. And then on the running back side of the ball, now we're looking at, you got a Sony Michel. You got Damian Harris. Damian Harris is their number 1. And then you got Sony Michel. I think they're going to try to go reach for a guy there as well. I think Harris is going to be... Go ahead. You got something to say?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. It's Zach Wilson.
Jesus. But yeah, they have Damian Harris, Sony Michel. Sony Michel showed flashes, I guess, right? But can't stay on the field. That's his biggest issue right now. And we saw Damian Harris come in and play well, be productive. And you got James White that he's going to be a free agent. So who's going to take over that, that pass catching role? I think Sony Michel would probably be better off doing that than trying to be a bell cow back.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you think they go after a running back in free agency?
They need a lot in their offense. I think the biggest holes are on the wide receiver, in the wide receiver spots, so they could fill up there. But they got a couple decent backs. Harris, he'll be I think he'll get the bulk of the carries. And do you think they'll keep Burkhead?
Probably on a very cheap deal, most likely.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you, right? If you get a guy on a 1 year deal,
if they like Sony Michel, if they had Michel, Harris, and Burkhead, I think they'll let those guys run with it. If they bring in a whole bunch of, because they need a whole bunch of receivers,
Yeah, they do have
and they could bring in like Curtis Samuel. He'd be a good gimmicky guy there, because we know that Belichick likes those guys.
Yeah, that was my landing spot for Curtis Samuel when we were talking about free agency. You got to remember too, they do have the third most money in free agency, so they have a ton. I know in past, Bill doesn't like to pay people, doesn't like to open up the wallet, but at the same time, he's pissed coming into next year already, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Being kind of embarrassed, I guess, over, the performance of the Patriots this year. I know when there was a lot of talk that, who was it in this offense? Was it Belichick that made the Super Bowl team, or was it Brady? Well, how did that turn out? What did we see, right? So, as far as the receiving,
that probably just made him angrier when obviously when Tampa Bay won that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then, let's talk on the receiving side of the ball. Like you said, they need help. They got Julian Edelman. He's not even sure he's going to be ready to come back. You got N'Keal Harry, Jacoby Myers. All kind of showed some flashes. Myers over 730 yards, no touchdowns. Edelman sat out the majority of the year. And then we saw N'Keal Harry, which just has not been able to do anything since he's been drafted.
Yeah.
Right, so they're going to definitely pay, and I do like the Curtis Samuel spot to go there for fantasy purposes. Would be amazing. Yeah. I think he could be the type of guy that takes over for Edelman, and you can see, and he's young. You're going to see Samuel play for a long time, and I think he should be their number one go-to guy at the start of free agency, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I could see them maybe bringing in a veteran wide receiver, maybe like T.Y. Hilton, and drafting one of those top wide receivers, like one of the deeper guys like Bateman or even Rondale Moore, one of those guys, bringing them in. I just pulled up the draft page I was looking at, and it's Mac Jones.
There you go, buddy. That's what I told you.
I don't know why I said Wilson, even when you said Jones. I heard Wilson for some reason.
I'm like, what did he just say? Who's Mac Wilson? Yeah. But yeah, so what were you saying? Yeah, like you said, picking up a veteran guy or a rookie and stuff. They got the draft class is deep as far as receivers go. Yeah, you know what? You can get somebody in that second, third round, and they're going to be able to start and perform. I think they kind of learned their lesson of maybe, because of Harry, maybe not going for a guy in the first round. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they maybe they just try to trade up and try to go get a rookie, one of those rookie quarterbacks, and then kind of see what happens from there, right?
And Bill's been trying to work things in New England a long time, like nobody else does. He tries to save money. He gets rid of anybody who asks for money, and we're seeing it catch up to him now because his pockets are dry. He doesn't have any receivers. His running backs are running out, and his quarterback, no tight end, and his quarterback is like, we don't even know yet. So, I mean, he's got to change his attitude, like spend some money, get some guys in here, and like get your team back to respectability.
Yeah, the one spot you just mentioned it, the one spot they're going to pay for is that tight end spot. He needs a guy, one of those elite guys that are out there. If Henry doesn't sign, they got, like I said, they got the third most amount of money. Yeah. They're going to just have a blank check out for any one of these, like Jonnu Smith, even a Gerald Everett would be a nice fit there. Yeah. A big-bodied tight end. They haven't had any production in their tight end spot since pretty much Gronkowski retired. Or I guess retired from New England. So they need to go out and they need to get a guy. They have the two rookies there right now. Devin Asiasi and Ryan Izzo and Dalton Keene there. Neither of them did really much of anything last year. So
yeah.
That's about it on that side. Who else we got left in this division? We got
Jets.
Oh, yikes.
Yes.
Yikes. I'll kick this part off because I'm apparently a huge Sam Darnold fan as of late.
Huge.
I don't know what's going on. I did my rankings the other day. I'm like, holy shit, why is he so high?
Yeah.
I like this offense for one simple reason, the new coaching staff, right? Robert Saleh's there. You got Mike LaFleur. These guys we have seen in productive, Saleh coming from San Fran as the DC there. And Mike LaFleur is the offense coordinator. And we've seen him, what they can do in that offense in San Fran. I think he brings that to the Jets. I think the Jets keep Sam Darnold. If they were smart, they would keep Sam Darnold because they have 4 number 1 picks in the next two drafts.
Yeah.
Trade out of that number 2 spot, go get a receiver, boom, start there. And then kind of build around Sam Darnold in the next 2 years. From that point, if you don't see anything from him, then you can move on, in my opinion. But
what I think they should do I think they should keep that second pick, bring in Sewell, and build this offense like you're supposed to from the offensive line out. They'll have, if they're doing a Sewell, they'll have the best 1-2 pair in Becton and Sewell for a long time. So then you can, that if that doesn't work, you know that Darnold's the problem.
Yeah, but even in case, so go from there though. If you talk about that, they could trade out of that number 2 spot and still get him at, say, 4 or 5 then. Could they not?
I guess it depends who they trade to and what their needs are. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Because all those quarterbacks are most likely going to be drafted high. Well, I guess 4? Is it 4? Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance are the top 4 that are supposed to be, in those, say, top 7 picks, correct?
Yeah.
From what I can understand, right? So from what I've seen in all these mocks as of late. So,
Sewell's the best player in the draft, though.
Yeah. So guess we just got to see what happens from there. So, and then on the running back side of the ball, and this is even worse.
Yeah.
We got pretty much no running back one, and we got LaMichael
Perrine.
Yeah, Jesus, and they're letting Frank Gore, Mr. Frank Gore, leave this team.
I know, what the hell? Let the guy retire. That's how he's got to go out.
Yeah, so they're going to have to do something there. I don't think Piran's the right answer, but you never know. Maybe they just see something that we don't in him. And then on the receiver side, I don't know, this team is terrible to talk about because it's not good. That's the problem. There's no real flashy, oh wow, look at this receiving core, look at this running back core. Right? There's nobody on this team that you should be happy about. But receiving side, you kind of got a little bit of excitement if things go the right way. And we got a Denzel Mims there, as their guy. You're high on Denzel Mims. You were last year coming into the league. And then you got a guy like Jamison Crowder. He could be a cap hit too this year. He could save this team. I think it's $10 million or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then pretty much Perryman's going to be walking pretty much. Yeah. Right, he's going to walk into free agency unless they do offer him a contract, which they should. He has shown back-to-back years now in Tampa Bay, and then coming into the Jets. He has shown some flashes still. He can still make plays, right? Yeah. And if you're going to build this offense the right way around it, you need to keep some of these veteran guys around, like you were saying earlier. Yeah. In my opinion,
I could see them. They have almost $70 million in cap space. I could see them going after one of these big name wide receivers in free agency. Even a guy like Allen Robinson. If he doesn't re-sign in Chicago, he could. Jets will offer him a ton of money.
Yeah. Or you go to a guy like Juju too, stuff like that. Right? So, I do like that. How about the tight end spot?
You love Herndon.
Oh,
you love him.
Yeah.
He's your boy.
Oh, let's go, Herndon. Boom. Again, a jersey. I'm going to get a jersey.
I don't like him because last year, 2 years ago, I traded for him in Dynasty, and then he was just on my farm, just shitting the bed for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad, but I think it turns around like we were talking about it earlier. Or earlier in one of our podcasts that I'm high on Herndon only because we've seen what Mike LaFleur, how he uses his tight ends in that scheme.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I think Darnold would be able to have a good connection with him. He's built exactly like George Kittle. Won't put up George Kittle numbers, but built like George Kittle. I think they scheme him into plays like they did with George Kittle. And you can almost see that, Herndon could be their top or their, second leader in targets on this team.
We'll see, buddy. That's a big jump.
Oh, it's a huge jump from where you see him in like ECR and being ranked right now. We're talking like deep down there, and that's why I look. I'm like, oh shit, I better change this real quick.
You better hope Darnold turns the shit around. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's going to be it. We took care of the AFC East and West, where we will be back. Probably next week.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do another couple divisions, kind of go like that just until, I guess free agency is going to be there as well. So we might skip a week of talking depth charts and just jump right into free agency, because I like to do a little show about free agency and their landing spots and what that does from a fantasy perspective. And outside that, once again, guys, don't forget to download the podcast. We are on YouTube now. You can find all that stuff. I'll put all that stuff in the show notes. Find us on our Facebook private group page too. There's starting to be a lot more talk going on there, and it should get better as the season gets closer.
Yeah.
And outside of that, download Monkey Knife Fight, promo code up north, get your up to $50 matched 100% and go win some money.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, guys. Kate, once again, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.
Peace.
Clayton caught a big skin running down the field. Happy tossing dimes, $2 million deal. Fantasy football, better know it's real. Tune into the